Hello and welcome to Almost 30 Podcast.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the show. This is Lindsey Simsick, and this is my best friend, Krista Williams. We're happy you're here.
I'm Krista Williams. Yeah. My name.
Are you not?
I am. And I was just thinking about that. I'm like, wow.
Are you changing it?
In due time at some point, maybe, if that ever happens.
I feel like it's such a good name.
Krista Williams. Yeah, it's my name. I remember there's this book that's a really good book, and it talks about how names can dictate the trajectory of someone's life.
Totally.
In a really big way. I know.
Mhm.
So if you have like a different name or like an interesting or unique name, it can contribute to like you being and doing something different or interesting in your career. And if you have like a more basic name, it can lead to more basic things. But there's like a lot of data and research on how names can really impact your life trajectory.
That's really interesting.
Not that I'm saying that anything about mine, because I think mine's kind of normal, but it's like
totally same.
Yeah.
But ours were like normal at a certain
Yeah.
time. I don't think there are a lot of Kristas being named now or a lot of Lindseys
No.
now.
Oh my gosh. There would never be a Krista name now, I don't think.
Welcome to the world, Krista.
Yeah, honestly, it was so weird. Like, hello, little baby Krista. I remember when my mom was like, I was going to name you Ariana. And I was like, ugh, I hate that. And then I got older. I'm like, Ari's dope.
You totally.
I'm like, if my name was Ari, that'd be dope. Like, but it's funny because I probably would have been Anna when I was little. But now I'd be like, dude, Ari all day.
All day.
All day.
Yeah, my parents are going to name me my middle name, Taylor. It's cool.
Taylor's a good one.
Taylor.
Tay. And it's because it's unisex.
Yeah, totally.
The good ones are the unisex ones.
Yeah.
Like,
she's friends with all the dudes, but like, you know.
Yes, 100%.
She's surfing.
I was like, call me Ryan. One of my good friends, her name's Sloan. I always loved that name.
Oh, I love that name.
Sloan is such a good one.
There are some hilarious content trends now. This girl, I'll have to link it in the show notes. This girl does a funny skit on the popular trend where you share baby names that you haven't used.
Oh, yes, I've seen that.
And she's like, popular girls' names that I blah, 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 blah. And she's like, completely straight face. She's like, Fart Beach. This is a, like, you have to see her deliver this.
Wait, yes.
But she's like, the origin of this is from da 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 da. But like, it is truly hilarious because the names are, people go there with names. And sometimes I can't help but laugh.
Yes. I mean, yeah, I'm trying to think of my friends' names. I've never heard Maverick.
I've heard it I've heard it, but it's not as common.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other names. One of my friends, Yara, I've never heard.
Oh, I like that.
I love the name Yara. Bari. I've only heard once.
Yep.
That model Bari. Who else? I'm trying to think of other names.
I know.
Of my kids.
Now the trend.
Quest, my friend. Her name's Quest.
I love Quest. Now the trend is to go use like older names. So like your grandparents'
like
name.
Henry. I have a friend whose name's Henry.
Or like, Eleanor, Eloise, or,
Marjorie.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Augustine.
Yeah, I would not be doing that. Yeah, like Augustine. It's funny, speaking of like little, like real trends, there was this funny, my friend Joey sent it to me, of this girl, and she's like, get ready with me before I pick up my dad from jail. She's like, get ready with me before I slang narcotics on the street. She just does all these like crazy get ready with me. It is so freaking funny. Speaking of get ready, I was telling Lindsey before, but I'm trying this experiment where I'm going out and I'm not wearing makeup instead of wearing makeup. And I'm just noticing how I'm noticing men. Obviously, the intention is for men, and how they react and respond. And if it's more, because I do feel like when I don't wear makeup, I get hit on more. And it's my third night of doing it in New York City.
No makeup at all.
No makeup at all. Nothing except for moisturizer on my face. And I don't know if it's any different, to be honest. I can't tell, but I do feel like there's an invitation to approach, but I think maybe there's more. I'm not sure. I can't really tell.
Because I know you were out to dinner, and sometimes it's like kind of weird to approach at a restaurant. Do you feel like if you're in a venue where like it's more of like an approach type venue.
I got approached yesterday out without it before, but and then at dinner there was a guy that came up and was talking to us. I just don't know what's normal, but it's like an interesting thing of how I
Totally.
feel too.
Oh
And
yeah,
I
I
do
think
kind of
more
like
so.
how I feel.
I
It's kind of
love.
fun. It's like I feel different. I feel unique. I feel like not trying as hard. I feel like I had the assumption that when women don't like when women wear makeup. So I think I have that, like there's a confidence in that too.
Yep.
But I think I'm gonna try. We're going to Bukkadon tonight or what?
Okay.
It's like
Budokan?
Budokan. It's like a clubby type place. So we'll see. I think it's gonna be weird to be wearing a full look and no makeup, but whatever.
But I think like when done well, it's very cool. It's very
Yeah.
supermodel.
And that's true. Which I'm not.
Because like supermodels wear so much makeup in their job that they're just kind of like
That's so real.
whatever.
That's so real.
But I think it's beautiful. I think we're kind of going into that.
Yes. I think too, I'm
area.
also looking intensely at men to see if they're looking at me. So they're probably looking back now that I'm thinking about it. I'm getting
You're like-
normal amount of looks. Like, you know, everyone in the whole fucking restaurant is looking. But I'm like, it's probably because I'm like, do you guys notice anything? What do you think about this space?
What is it like to like go to a restaurant with a group of singles, mostly singles,
All singles.
all singles,
Half singles.
half singles? Because it's like, are you? It's mostly like you guys are vibing with each other, or is there kind of that awareness of like who just walked in? Da 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 da.
I think I'm always aware.
Yeah.
I think no, I think at our age, you're just aware. Like the singles are aware and the people that aren't.
Yeah.
But everyone's down.
Totally.
But it's interesting because my group is all literally so different looks. Like brunette, big booty, super teeny short.
Yeah.
Super dark hair brunette, olive skin. Like it's just like tall blonde. Like it's just so different.
Totally.
So like
take your pick.
Take your pick. Like what's your aesthetic? What's your vibe? Like how are you feeling?
Won't feel bad if you choose her because we're totally different.
It is. I kind of like it. Like it's just funny. I'm like, oh wow, that's your like even when I told you the last night someone had a seizure and then the firemen came in and we're just like could not get over my friend. We're just like unwell.
How hot are firemen?
I mean the mustache. I was like
every time. I'm like, do they hire
here.
them knowing they're going to be on a calendar?
100%. It also was not hot when he's not paying attention to the man that's like had just passed out and he's staring at my friend talking to his friend about my friend. I was like, that's not my favorite thing about this experience. I was like, get back to work, dude.
Holy moly.
It was crazy though. It was like the guy had the seizure at dinner. He passed out. The firemen came, they were in the restaurant, and then this waitress dropped a whole tray of glasses. There was glass everywhere. It was a very weird night. Service was like horrible. I know, I don't know.
There was a Scorpio moon the other night.
That's probably why everyone was like on edge. They were like doing their thing. But yeah, I need to be better about gathering the data for, this is the thing, last thing about this. This is why I don't do experiments, because I'm so like, anything's true, anything's not true.
Yeah.
I'm never a definitive person about really much. And so it's like whenever it's like, well, it could be this, it could be that.
Totally.
You know, I'm like, oh, I'm going to do an experiment to see if I get more attention without makeup on. And then I'm like, well, you know, I maybe could have gone that night before wearing makeup and got the same amount of attention. I don't know.
Well, you have to do a controlled.
I know I do need to do more control.
So going to the same restaurant every
That's
night.
a good one. I should do the same restaurant. And then I should count. I should.
The same people have the same rich food.
Yes, I should. Literally, you guys. So before we start recording, they asked what we ate for dinner last night, and this is what I ate for dinner last night. Garlic twist bread, a Parmesan crouton Caesar salad, fried sweet potato, cauliflower covered in cheese, broccoli covered in cream, pine nuts and cheese, sourdough tagliatelle pasta, and then strawberry shortcake dessert, black tiramisu, and olive oil mochi. Yeah. Yeah,
I said her body would be feeding off that for the next 3 days.
Honestly, until I fly home, I think my body is sustained and sourced really well. I literally, I haven't done that in so long. I left dinner and I was like, when you eat that much, I'm like, get me home.
I know.
I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to see anybody. It is like, I was all day in the car. I was like, I just is so Ugh, it was so good, but it was just too many flavors,
Yeah, it's a lot.
too many things. The 3 desserts was insane.
Well, with a place like Don Angie, you're with a name like Don Angie, you're gonna be
In
you're
it.
gonna be eating rich.
Yeah, you're gonna be eating real rich. I haven't had a real rich meal like that in so long, but whatever. Anyways, so okay, let's talk about this episode. So Chervin is back on the podcast. Chervin is the founder
Of
of
Symbiotica, our
Symbiotica.
favorite supplement brand. What do I wanna say? He's been on the pod a bunch, and literally they're some of our most popular episodes, is what I
Yes.
wanna say. Um, Chervin is someone I feel like who is a truth teller, truly living his dharma, not afraid to say how he feels and
Yeah.
what he believes, in a time where I think that's sometimes difficult to do. And I really just very much respect his mission over at Symbiotica, just creating the cleanest supplements. There's no toxic anything in the supplements, fillers. I mean, the supplement industry is
Yeah.
kind of a wild west, and they really do their due diligence, making sure that all of their products are super, super clean and in integrity. Um, just to shout out, I'm taking the vitamin D3 K2 every single day, the vitamin C, which is actually amazing, not only for immunity, but skin as well. It
Mhm.
has biotin. And I also take the inflammatory health, which is 2
Oh,
capsules every
yeah.
single day and incredibly powerful for anti-inflammation in the body. I think those are the main 3 I'm taking right now, but most of their supplements come in liposomal form. Super yummy flavors, healthy, easy, you can take it on the go. I just love them.
Yeah, it's Symbiotica. It's Cymbiotika, but you guys probably know about it. I take their glutathione,
Mhm.
which helps with premature aging. It tastes amazing. It's like this like orange
Yes.
cream flavor. It's so good. The magnesium is the best. I Magnesium is the number one thing I recommend to everybody. Literally, I was just voice noting a client before she got here. She was talking about all the stuff going on in her life. And I was like, I think you need to take magnesium. Like, I was like, the guides say magnesium, sis. I was like, I'm getting a message about magnesium. Magnesium is so helpful for memory, focus, and
Mhm.
learning. It helps you sleep, it helps your digestion, helps you relax, helps anxiety. I also love their liposomal vitamin B12 and B6. So many people are low on vitamin B12 and B6. It can help so much with energy. It's been so helpful for my energy. And then I do like their vitamin D3 and K2 and CoQ10 as well, which helps everything. Vitamin D is so incredible. And then I will take their adrenal super tonic, which is help my adrenals because sometimes I'm pushing myself to the limit in a big way. And then most importantly, I love their creatine. I just did a creatine
Mhm.
packet right before I came here. It's so good for athletic performance, for recovery, for building muscle, for brain health. Like, I've really found that creatine has helped my workouts in a really big way. So I like to
Yeah.
do my creatine with Symbiotica. But they also have the metabolic health, which is really good. They have the omega, they have activated charcoal, they have liposomal sleep, they have link complex, they have a liver health. We did an episode that was on their parasite cleanse, Para X,
Mhm. Mhm.
which was insane. That was such a really powerful episode. It went viral on TikTok, and we talked a lot about parasites and how we're living with so many parasites in our home. So that's symbiotica.com, and you guys can get 20% off everything by using code almost 30. So symbiotica.com, use code almost 30 for 20% off their products. Again, we use them and love them. And then Chervin is just a lifelong seeker of truth and knowledge. He has a podcast, Wake the Fake Up. He has tons of amazing interviews that you can listen to online, and he shares really deep insights in areas of Eastern and Western medicine, epigenetics, nutrition, detoxification, biodynamic agriculture, and philosophy. And he really has the sole intention to awaken the higher potential contained in each of us. So, this was a really beautiful, meandering, deep spiritual episode that we did together that's going to have as many juicy insights that just like wake you up in a big
Mhm.
way, and then actionable, helpful information.
Yeah, thank you, Chervin, for joining us. Thank you all for listening. Definitely share this episode with a friend. I'm sure there's going to be like a few topics that come up that would be great conversation starters. And subscribe to the pod. We have new episodes every single week. We want to make sure that you see them, listen to them, subscribe on Apple Podcasts, follow on Spotify, and subscribe on YouTube. We are here on video. We'd love to see you.
Yeah, we love you guys so much. Thank you for being in our lives and community. Thank you, Chervin. Again, it's symbiotica.com. You can use code almost30 for 20% off. We love all of their products. They're incredible. We can't wait for you to get into them. And then there's more episodes we did with Chervin. So search almost 30 Chervin. It's Chervin.
Thank you all. We'll see you on the other side.
Bye.
This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. Oh man, therapy has helped me in so many ways. I've been going to therapy for 7 years. In the last 4 years, I feel like it's really it's been everything. It's helped me through 2020. It's helped me through getting engaged, getting married, having a baby, like moving. It's crazy. And I'm just so thankful. It's the best investment I've ever made and will continue to make. One of the things that's helped me with is comparison. Oh man, we live in an age where we can see other people's lives, the highlights of other people's lives. And like, it's hard. It's hard not to compare your life to other people. And we can get caught up in just wishing our life was like someone else's life. But comparison is the thief of joy, baby. And I have just felt like therapy has helped me focus on what I want instead of what others have. And I've just started living a life that I love and I'm obsessed with. And therapy has really helped me to do that. So if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online. It's designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. All you have to do is fill out a brief questionnaire and they will match you with a licensed therapist. And you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. They make it easy. So find more balance with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/almost30 today to get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/almost30. Okay, for those of us, me included, who thrive in getting stuff done, I do, including workouts. Every minute truly counts. Hey, moms out there, I see you, I feel you. That's why you need Tonal. It is so cool. The smart strength training system that takes the guesswork out of working out so you can make sure you're making the most of every single rep. So if you don't know, Tonal is the world's smartest and most effective strength training system that helps get you stronger. It's powered by AI, and Tonal learns with every rep so it can deliver workouts personalized for you. I've been blown away. It learns from your movement and provides suggested weight recommendations for every move with detailed progress reports. It's like you have your own personal trainer. They even give you a personalized program and workout, so you don't have to think about it. It really takes the guesswork out. Unlike traditional gym equipment, Tonal uses adaptive digital weight to advance your training techniques. I actually like it better. It feels just better on my body. So many people are using this, from professional athletes to moms of 3 to everyone in between. It's trusted by thousands who have become really, really strong in their bodies. So right now, Tonal is offering our listeners $200 off their total purchase with promo code almost30. That's tonal.com, TONAL.com, and use the promo code almost30 for $200 off your purchase. Trust me, this investment will be worth it times a million. Plus, it fits great in your home. It's super compact, and I think it's aesthetically really, really chic. So tonal.com, promo code almost30 for $200 off.
Yeah, I'm so grateful you're here. We can get it started. We've been going in already, and I just love anytime I can sit down with you. I admire you so much. I love Symbiotica's products, and I just feel like I learn something every time I'm with you. You're such an amazing teacher and speaker and leader. It's just such a pleasure to have you on the show, and especially for me and Lindsey to be together. Mm-hmm. So I just want to keep rolling because I just feel like whenever we can put the mic on you and just let you rip, it changes lives. So let's talk about dehydration.
Sure. Can I just say this? It's an honor to be back here. So Krista, fun. It's great to see you. I think the last time I saw you was in Ibiza.
Yes.
And Mama,
I know.
This is epic. I've been following along.
Thank you.
And it just warms my heart that there's courageous women out there that, really care about their embodiment, not just in an individual basis, but because they want to create the landscape for other beautiful women to see that archetype. And however I can bless you guys and your audience, it's our greatest joy. And so I appreciate that intro.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate you. Yeah. It never gets past me that I get to work with people that I respect and love, and just, it's so deeply grateful. Let's talk about dehydration.
Let's go.
Because I actually got blood tested, I think a few months ago, and
dehydration was off. I was so dehydrated. Wow. And I'm so confused because I have 4 beverages with me at all times. What is going on where you were dehydrated too?
No, actually, since I got pregnant, anytime I've gotten tested, I've been hydrated. I think it's because I used to be chronically dehydrated teaching fitness.
Yes.
But then I kind of doubled down because I knew how important it was with pregnancy and then breastfeeding. Wow. Like I don't make milk if I don't have water.
How are they testing? How are they testing? Is it pH test, saliva test?
Mine was blood. Does that even make sense?
Not really.
Dang it.
Mine was pee.
Pee makes sense.
Okay.
Because they can check the delta.
Papaya?
Dude,
papaya. That's the word.
You were talking about a product, and I was like, "It's orange." It was Healthy Glow, and I was like, "Is papaya in it?" And he's like, "No." You gave me a few seconds of thinking. Yeah. You like acted like you were thinking. You're like, "No."
There's papaya extract in our heart health product.
Okay, maybe that's what it is.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, hey, thanks for giving me that. Anyways, let's talk about dehydration. Why are we dehydrated? How is this possible?
Well, we're dehydrated as a nation and as a worldwide population. It's almost like a phenomenon now because we're not drinking water anymore. You know, we're not drinking clean water. We're not drinking spring water. And we're drinking all the things that actually push hydrogen out of the body. And we call those diuretics. And so every time, you drink coffee, you drink tea, you drink alcohol, you drink soda, certain fruit juices, certain sugary juices, the body is excavating hydrogen out of your body. And even certain herbs that are good for us act as a diuretic, dandelion, things like that. They push water out of the body. And it's so, it's a tedious process to build hydration back. You have to really be pragmatic about it and strategic. And just drinking, a gallon of water every single day is not actually getting intracellular water into the cells. And I would predict a big portion of the population today are completely dehydrated. And if you have a dry mouth, that's like 50 stages down from dehydration. That means that you are extremely dehydrated. Wow. And so what happens when you're dehydrated? Your metabolic function goes out the window. What's happening right now in the world? Metabolic syndrome, insulin problems, senolytic cells where cells are forgetting how to do their work. You're having bloating issues and constipation. Constipation is prevalent across every nation, across every parts of the world right now. And with constipation, you're having terrible digestion, you're having chronic fatigue, you're having GI issues. You can take all the probiotics in the world, but if you're constipated and dehydrated, you're already below 10 8 balls all at once. And this is an extreme problem. This is a pandemic in itself. And so for myself, I try to act and I try to look at what's the pillars of health. And I would say 1A and 1B is hydration and mineralization. Those two work hand in hand together. They're almost synonymous with their function and how they create energy and spark throughout the body. Think about it. You guys are electrical before you're chemical. Your heartbeat, your brain, the different stages of brain function are all running off a certain current. If your heartbeat stops, they grab the defibrillator and shock your heart back to energy and back to a pulse. And so if you're lacking hydration in the body, you're lacking currency, all of a sudden you're having oxidation throughout the body and the current is trying to make up for it. And so what do? It sends signals of stress to the brain. And that signal says, eat more food, eat more toxic stuff, drink caffeine, have an alcoholic beverage. And now we're stuck in that loop. And we're just chasing our own tail. And this came up because I just got done with a 12-day watermelon fast. Actually, it was watermelon and molecular hydrogen. That was my diet for 12 days straight. And on day 13, I didn't want to go back to normal food. It's just like, when you go for a fast, after the first 36, 48 hours, it's kind of crummy around that time. You're kind of like, oh, I want to eat. I want to enjoy something. I want to escape a little bit. Food creates a little bit of escapism, which sometimes are very healthy. We should definitely get into that. Like the TV show you just brought up. Sometimes we need to shut things down a little bit. That's nothing to be frowned upon. Food does the same way because it releases endorphins. It takes you into the moment. You're breaking bread. And so I was on this 12-day watermelon fast. And, after 2, 3, 4 days, my energy level was through the roof. My skin was glowing. Wow. And why is that? Because watermelon is 95% water, and it's structured water. For the watermelon to pull that water out of the earth, go into the roots, make its way into the watermelon form, it structures the water just like spring water does right out of an aquifer. And it has the perfect amount of salt, sodium, calcium, phosphorus, all the minerals that make up perfect structure. You throw in the lycopene and the riboflavin and the B vitamins. That thing was extraordinary. And I eat the flesh and I juice the skin. So I'm getting all the composite of the material, which is a way to do that. And when you combine that with molecular hydrogen, I mean, I was on fire. You know, I was just probably sleeping 3-4 hours. Usually I sleep 7 hours, which is quality sleep. But when you're in fasts and you're in those types of things, you don't need to sleep as much because I'm not detoxifying as much. Sleep is meant for detoxification. So back to the hydration thing, it's something we really have to look ourselves in the mirror. And if you're trying to, you know, get on some kind of hormone or some kind of herbal plan or some kind of detox, but you're dehydrated, you've missed it all. Before going into any of those epic plans for your thyroid or your pituitary gland or any autoimmune conditions you have, get hydrated first, then mineralize, then let's see what issues are arising after you've done that.
In terms of proper mineralization, I feel like this is what happens in the health and wellness space. Like there's kind of a buzzy thing, whether it's hydration or something else. And there's then a bunch of products made to help you get there, which is not a bad thing. You're a product company, you know that. But I think doing it in the right and ethical way, I think is what I want to get at. Because, you know, there are companies out there that are just kind of like throwing salts and this and kind of like natural flavors and different things. What should people be looking out for and or just cultivating in their cabinet to make sure they're properly mineralized? Yeah, I agree with you. You know, there's a race to the bottom in this industry. Yeah. You know, I think that was the impetus around creating Symbiotica is that, okay, let's try a different strategy. Let's not chase the other company or chase a talking point or looking at trends. Let's get to the root health and then fold out from there and create a structured idea and a plan that we can educate ourselves with in the process and create it while we're educating. And then let's spit that knowledge out and allow people to take the discernment they have from learning and then choosing what's working for them. When it comes to hydration, when it comes to mineralization, we have to find minerals and these salts in their right form. Number one, you know, they can't be artificial materials that are combined with rock materials like calcium carbonate and all the things that you're seeing in a lot of supplements out there. People are literally eating chalk every single day.
Oh, is that calcium carbonate?
Calcium carbonate. Yeah, calcium carbonate is literally
I love that you
chalk.
laughed because it's such an expert laugh. You're like, calcium carbonate. And I'm like, I have no idea.
In 2016, I started I know you have some girlfriends that do this right now. I started the trend of going into health food stores and filming the ingredient list. And I wasn't going into Costco or Vons. I was going into the health food stores and really finding issue in a lot of the materials that they were putting in products that were quote unquote healthy food. Yet at the same time, you're doing a disservice to the body. These things end up creating, interruptions of currency in the body, of energy in the body. They build up in the joints. You know, there's so much, lack of not only awareness, but also the empathy model of like, how you do anything is how you do everything. And if you put these things in foods that people are trusting, these things are accumulating and causing damage. And it's real. This isn't just, a fear factor thing. This is the real thing. And so for, something like what we do is that we have the most active forms and most bioavailable forms of minerals in our product line. Obviously, we have our Shilajit, which is 84 trace minerals in angstrom size. Angstrom, it means a unit of measure. This is the way the earth made it. And it's combined with fulvic acid and other humic forms that break down the material and allow our body to assimilate it properly. These are what the ancient yogis and those ancient people were doing. And I think it's incredible that Symbiotica is on the forefront of Shilajit. We offer the most Shilajit in the world from the most trusted sources with the most testing, rigorous testing around that. And, to be part of a movement that is offering a material that I've been personally taking since I was 10, and I thought it was this ancient God material, it really, really sparks my internal fire. And everybody in our company feels that as well. This is the cornerstone of Ayurveda. Literally, it translates to conqueror of weakness. And Ayurveda is the wisdom of life, the science of health, all combined on our connection to our environment, our connection to our earth, and realizing the human body is not separate from the earth. If I removed all the organic material from your body, calcium, silica, magnesium, copper, all that, you both and myself would wither away in a few minutes. We're made of the earth. Whatever this life is, whatever this thing is, this whatever, you can have whatever idea you want. We're literally made of it, like the ground. And so that means that there is a set of instructions around that comes with that. And the more we violate those instructions, just like we're doing with our environment, we're doing it in our internal environment, the further away we come from God, from happiness, from true mastery, from, untying karmas and really reaching this level of peak potential. And they say that we're in a modern world and we're living longer. I don't think that equates to real truth. We might be plugged up to machines longer. We might be on drugs longer, but we're certainly not in our body longer. We're not in our connection longer. And again, that was the reason why this whole movement with Symbiotica was birthed. We wanted to do everything transparent. We wanted to search the entire world, finding the best raw materials. I am heading to Iceland probably in a few weeks. It's somewhere that I go at least once every 2 years. I think you guys know we source our astaxanthin from Iceland, which is one of the most beautifying, powerful antioxidants on earth. It's how algae protects itself. It's how salmon's red, lobsters are red, that color, that pink algae. I'm going back there to procure the cleanest, most versatile salt in the world that comes from the geothermal energy systems of Iceland, which is the most pristine place in the world. And I'm doing that because salt is traditional material for me as someone in this space, is one of the most powerful alchemies that we can work with. And I've been promoting Celtic sea salt for years. And even the Celtic sea salt out there still has some residues of microplastics in it. And we're just like, let's just keep going. Let's just take this as far as we can. It's going to be a pain. It's going to be expensive, but so what? It's such an integral part of our design and who we are. And I can't go to sleep at night knowing that there's one stone left to be unturned. And I think that's how we should navigate with our health, and not in a maniacal, crazy way where it's taking us out of our present and is stressing us out, but in a pragmatic, mystical way where you're really approaching it like this is a journey in life and we're all experiencing and learning as we go.
The salt thing, I was talking to a friend the other day and we were talking about that, how the next thing is salt without microplastics in it, because now, so the microplastics conversation, let's talk about that. Like, what are microplastics? What are they in? Why does it matter?
Yep. We're in a plastic world. Petroleum parts, all the stuff that's happening, is formed to make plastic, whether it's from byproduct stuff or manufacturing textiles and latex stuff. And it's entering every aspect of our reality. It's entering our quasi in our atmosphere. It's in our soil. It's in our water. It's in our food systems. It's ending up in our body. I think you can see it on social media. They're talking about it ending up in men's sperm. It's ending up in our brain. It's ending up in our arteries.
It's in the umbilical cord.
It's in the umbilical cord.
Of women.
And it makes sense that it's making it to those areas because it's so elusive in the body, the way plastic moves. And we're talking about micron-sized plastic. Like, these things are tiny. And it's having a major effect on, again, the channel of the body. Our body has to be cohesive. There has to be movement. Anytime there's stagnation, you're suffering. And I think this is a really important part. We'll jump forward in a little bit on stagnation, because without movement, forget about it. Forget about all these things. Hydration, mineralization, movement, right? Think of microplastics as the antithesis of movement. It shuts down movement in the body. And we're seeing now that it's ending up in the arterial walls. And it's a major cause for different types of sclerotic disease, heart disease. It's not the cholesterol. You know, cholesterol runs into an inflammatory response. Cholesterol runs into heavy metal toxicity. Cholesterol runs into microplastics. It's not the cholesterol. Cholesterol we need in our body. Am I saying if you have hypercholesterolemia, you should be eating a ribeye steak 3 times a day? Of course not. But what I'm saying is that the problem doesn't lie in the cholesterol. It lies in the dysfunction of the body and the other things that react to it. And the leading cause of death in this world right now is cardiovascular disease. And that is the arterial wall hardening and getting calcified. And then from there, inflammatory markers hitting that spot and then causing obstruction. And so microplastics are involved in that process. They're involved in neurodegenerative disease for, looking at how we're really hitting a hyper flow of that right now. Like it's extreme. The disease span is coming sooner.
Yeah.
That's a real thing. Yeah.
So many. I went on a trip recently. 2 of my friends are my age, both just got done with cancer treatments.
Well, like what?
I know. I was like, what?
It's dehydration, lack of minerals, lack of movement, living in fear, holding in trauma, being trapped. All of a sudden, because we're all one unit. This ecosystem we're in has to express, it has to expand. If it doesn't, it stops working. Senile cells is called immunosenescence. That means that there's cells in the body that are supposed to go through cellular program death, which is apoptosis, which is a very healthy aspect of being human. This is why I like to fast, because fasting activates that system. If you are dehydrated, if you're living in fear, if you're eating the state-sponsored food systems, if you're not speaking your voice out, if you're holding all these things, your cells become senile. And once they become senile, they release cytokines and all kinds of inflammatory markers. Tumor necrosis factor, IL-1, IL-6, all of these things start to express. When they start to express, then you have a situation where cells become radicalized and they start turning into weird stuff.
They're like zombie cells, right?
That's right. Zombie cells is senile cells. Yeah. It's the same thing. Yeah. And so that's the gateway to cancers. Throw in non-native electromagnetic frequencies, throw in you're not getting full sunlight on the rise, so you're not turning on your immune system. Like, what's your D3 levels in your body? You know, most people are really, really below where they need to be. It's full on. Like we're in it, but it's not an impossible road. It's actually the greatest mission of all time. Like, take your authority back. Let's have agency. Like, we're missing agency. Like standing in our power and not being a victim.
What do you think the zombie cells, what do you think like the spiritual, they spiritually represent?
Denial. Separation from incarnation.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Right?
Yeah.
Because it's forgetting what it's supposed to do.
Yeah. It's like unconscious.
It's completely unconscious.
Yeah.
And so if you're unconscious,
then the cells of your body will become unconscious.
Of course. Yeah. Why is that? That's not airy-fairy to me.
I think so much of this, I'm like, how is this not? I'm like, how do you not see?
Yeah. And the ancients knew this.
Yeah.
You know, my spiritual enlightened being, Rudolf Steiner, talked about this. He gave lectures on this very subject, that your embodiment in this life, every channel in the body will run its cues based on that like experience. So we're not separate from, you know, a cell in the lower GI tract. We're not separate from our reproductive system. We're not separate from all those things. And so it really just comes down to, can you commit yourself and actually say, I'm worth it.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's the practice of self-love. Self-love might be at the root of all we're talking about right now, right?
Yeah. I think about this a lot with our parents' generation and just my experience in witnessing kind of my dad and his health and maybe your dad and your health, where
there is this. My dad's fully in right now.
Yeah.
Desire fulfilled. Desire fulfilled. Desire.
Like an instant gratification type deal.
Yes, because
Your dad's a baby boomer, or he's
boomers, man.
They got rocked.
And also I think there's this unprocessed, whether it's trauma, just like unprocessed life that they're walking around with. And so to your point, it's like, I need instant gratification to soothe what could be bubbling up on a daily basis. But to your point about self-love, like sometimes I just witness my dad and I'm like, do you love yourself enough to make a healthy decision for yourself as simple as hydrating? It's like so simple. Yeah. But I think it's the self-love thing is at the root. But I also wonder about their generation, because I think I do think in generations that followed, it gets better. But I think we're also getting a little bit confused as to like what is actually healthy and what's not. So all that to say, have you seen that kind of in the older people in your life?
Totally.
And their health?
Totally. Such a lack of trust.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
No, it's funny. I would say interesting, yes. And I perceive a lack of trust in pharmaceuticals and a lack of trust in the system, or trust of the system.
Right.
Like I remember one time I was at a holiday with an ex, and we were like talking about Edward Snowden. We're like, he's like a G. We were talking about Edward, and the bomb that dropped. He is a traitor.
Yeah.
He is the worst. Like it was just like that generation trusts, but then doesn't.
Right.
Doesn't trust life, trusts the man.
That's right. And it backfired on them.
Yeah.
To your point and to
except
your
they're the
point as
richest.
well.
They own like 70% of the wealth in the market.
Well, I mean, a portion of them do. The other portion are either dead or completely on their deathbed now.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's tough to see that. And you can see that. And I think that's why we're having such a difficult situation in our country and our economy, is that, people are just sick. They're unhealthy and they don't trust the government. They don't trust all the complexes of the world, right? The industrialization of modern reality has changed our connection to ourself. Because it's become so industry that it's a race to the bottom in every sector. And that takes away from true value and courage of someone bringing magic to the world, because now we're just leaving it to 4 or 5 big entities to do it. And then you have some corporate lifestyles and stuff like that. Yeah. We should all be growing our own food. We should all be making our own clothes. We should all be hunting our own spring water. I mean, I know this sounds archaic, but I think not doing that is archaic. Mm-hmm. Like the agrarian lifestyle, which means you live off the earth. There's a medium change farm in your community. You're part of service there. Your children grew up in that farm, understanding the laws of soil science and the hard work that goes into food. These gaps that aren't happening right now are becoming more generational loss. And now we're now at a point now with modern technology and social media and the telephone. It's changed the laws of our consciousness. We're in completely different reality where our idea of being recognized in this world is not for showing up. It's really to just be seen and to be affirmed without really doing anything, whether it's mechanistic material, looks, entertainment, so the actual gold and the roots of what is needed for a sovereign nation has been completely demoralized and burned away. Mm-hmm. And we're running in some kind of hypnotic state right now. Yeah. Mm-hmm. This is the real deal. I'm here to speak the truth.
TikTok is like,
I don't have TikTok.
So, I don't have it either.
Me either.
But I do have Instagram, and I see that on there. I've been on Instagram for 7 years, and it's hard for me to get on there these days.
Yeah.
I've been shadow banned because I speak the truth on there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm just like, what is this crap? Mm-hmm. But to the baby boomers and to the older generation, they believed in science.
Yeah.
They believed that the PhD doctor knew everything, that they were God.
Yeah.
They gave them a God energy. My culture, the Iranian culture, we revere doctors. We revere the physician. We revere those levels of professionals. And rightfully so. They put themselves through a lot to get to that level. but they've fallen victim to a system that is decayed and is archaic and is practicing draconian type medical practices. And I think this generation has just been so pushed away that there are outliers like us and probably everybody listening right now that have pumped their fists and saying, we're not gonna fall victim to this shit anymore. We're gonna figure this out and we're gonna be part of the solution. And so I believe we're part of a new renaissance. I don't think everyone is going to be saved. I think that's part of the general selection and the process. But anyone that takes their power back has a spot at the table for success, happiness, and living a most expanded life.
Yeah, I feel like for the older generation, you know, like with being hydrated with my dad or like all my dad's illness, it's like the mindset is not going to change. So the practices are not going to change. So I tried to do my thing, and this is maybe me talking to myself, and change everything about the habits. And it's like, unless you have the mindset in understanding and in congruence with the actions, you're never going to have the actions and the outcome that you want. So I was like, can't really change the mindset. And in Law of One of my favorite books, they talk about like how to be with people that are asleep or unconscious. And it says for the unconscious, like the nicest thing to do is to give them a pillow for sleeping and like just make them comfortable and like be kind and loving to them. And I'm just like, I'm going to love you in this because I know your soul sees and I know your soul is in witness. But it is hard to see people that you love sort of fall victim to things and practices and stuff. But I think we can talk about this, but people are so hypnotized that they're not taking action. Like people even know with their mind things that are happening, but I don't see a lot of action being taken. Do you?
Yes and no.
Okay, same. That's true. That's true.
I think if you hit rock bottom, you're either gonna drift off into death or you're gonna make a change.
Yeah.
Right. And I agreed with everything you just said. You know, at some point, maybe it's just a soft pillow, and that's part of our empathy code to be able to show up for people. And like you just can't push them over. But if they're not in the embodiment of understanding why they're doing it, they'll never do it. It's like studying for a test in high school the night before.
Yes.
You ace the test, and then 3 days later, you wouldn't even be able to get one right because it's all memorization. If there's no lack of nobility of wanting to desire the gold and really, truly, intrinsically understand it, then it's all for nothing. Then it's a chore. Like I love my rituals every day. Is it tedious? Yeah, it can be. Getting up at 5:30 with the sun, doing 20 minutes of holotropic diaphragmatic breath work, drinking 50 ounces of spring water and molecular hydrogen, hanging upside down for 5 minutes, you know, doing movement and hip work, maybe jumping in the infrared or cold plunge. You know, sometimes I just want to sleep in and sometimes I do, but I know what this is doing for me. And I know that my soul is thanking me. And so 6 hours later, 8 hours later, when I'm in the grind of my work and I'm dealing with 50 phone calls, that setup that I had has put me in a position to take that on. Yeah. And instead of like feeling like I need to escape with a drink or escape with watching drama on social media and creating those bad habits, I don't have those tendencies because I've calibrated myself to be able to take things on. I think, you know, we're finding reasons to fail too. I'm noticing there's like there's like a victim there, and a lot of people, they think it needs to be this like masculine approach to success, masculine approach to longevity, masculine approach to clearing their body of autoimmune conditions. You never will get there with that level of full-on ferociousness. There has to be a drive for sure, but it has to come with like reasonable balance and softening and in the experience, and like take in the suffering and then like allow yourself to breathe through it. And that's the beauty. I think that's one of my favorite reasons why I love the season we're entering right now. We're entering fall in the Northern Hemisphere. We're entering the autumn equinox. This is a time where the declination of the sun is moving further away from North America, which is causing a shift in our environment and our energy centers. The jing of the summer, that fire, that intensity, the output, the masculine energy is starting to lower and cause a little bit more of a creative spark to come in. This is, we consider the death time, right? Which is why All Hallows is coming up. This is the death portal where something is dying, and it's a beautiful death because we have to die in certain ways. And so I ask upon all the people in my sphere of influence and everyone that I come across is really start getting centered on what you're calling in to die within you, you know, and put that on paper, put that on a canvas, have it enter a hyper reality outside of your mind, and let that start to drift into your mind space and your heart space. And it's such an invaluable tool. We're so forgetful of the seasons. Like we think of seasons as holidays, and not, it's like,
it's so true. Especially in California.
Because, you know, we're not feeling it that fierce.
Yeah.
But just go east and, you know, and go up a mountain or something.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but like down in Orange, where I live in Laguna, I mean, it is changed.
Yeah.
The weather has shifted. And I'm with that. I'm finding all parts of myself that I want to cultivate and allow to release out of me. And it just reminds me of like, we got to be gentle with ourselves. You know, if you're having celiacs or Hashimoto's, your thyroid's not working properly, you have skin rashes and psoriasis, and, you know, brittle hair, you're not sleeping properly, you're always reaching for caffeine, you can't stop having anxiety, you know, that you're not going to punch through it. You really have to sit with it and allow yourself to feel into those things, and then pragmatically start adjusting your life. And I think also the social media problem of like seeing 10 million realities all at once.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
You can never get out of that.
Yeah.
I was going to say too, just on this like changing of the seasons, I think, and related to social media, I can imagine, and I feel like I've experienced this, where like I don't allow myself to go into a fall, winter season internally, because I feel like I have to be outward facing, summertime all the time.
Yeah.
I feel like I've gotten better as I've like grown my family, and I just prioritize like privacy and not being on there as much. However, it's still connected to success, money, our careers, etc. So, but I can just imagine that people feel that pull always, whether it's to be watching someone else's summer season all year long or creating their own to stay relevant.
Totally.
And so you're unable to really allow those death cycles to happen. And then it's like a dead skin buildup, and you're just this like whole
You hit it out of the park.
thing.
You hit it out of the park. That's exactly right. It's a dead skin buildup. It's more of a veneer. You gotta, the veneer's cracking. Okay, let's put another veneer on.
Yeah.
Imagine doing that for 25 years.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're that sensitive to social media in that sense, then be honest with yourself, look yourself in the mirror and say, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to get off social media for 30 days and let's see what happens. So, I mean, why do we do a digital detox? Like, what does that mean? It's not just to shut down people being able to communicate with you. It's so you're not taking in those streams in your soul. What you see on that digital interface is real in the sense that you can't, your soul, your cells, your synapses don't distinguish that from not being you in that environment watching it. That's how it works. I mean, that's the scary part of the digital realm. And so really take notice of how you feel. The whole thing, chasing summer and always on an island somewhere, I would lose it.
Yeah,
I
not for me.
embrace, I love the snow. I love the cold. And it's not because I don't like summer. It's because I love summer so much. I love being on the island, our farm on the islands. The beauty of that loses its muster if I don't have the other side of it. Yeah. Without darkness, you need light. With light, you need darkness. It's the same thing with our internal ecosystem and our consciousness and how we move around and move and navigate. And the seasons are really important time to let go of so much. So if you're listening to this, we're entering fall. We're also, soon after that is winter, which is the hibernation period, right? Where we really go inwards. this is a good time to get very creative in your life and to also find out what's not serving you and what's time to die.
Okay, if you're anything like me, you might be wanting to add something to your wellness routine, like usually to like a beverage or like a little snack. I'm just like needing something more. And so when I found Manucora, this is Manuka honey, I was blown away. It is rich. It is creamy. The flavor is very complex. It's not like regular honey, and it has a ton of health benefits. So I will like put it on a spoon first thing in the morning, take it. I will put it on my yogurt. I can put it on ice cream. I can put it on like a piece of toast with peanut butter and banana. You cannot stop me. I am obsessed. So this type of honey is ethically produced by Manucora's master beekeepers in the remote forests of New Zealand. It contains powerful nutrients to support immunity and gut health. And what's really cool is the bees collect the nectar from the Manuka tea tree in New Zealand, and the nectar is packed with bioactives. And the honey that is produced has 3 times more antioxidants and prebiotics than your average honey. So this is really, really special and what makes Manucora unique. A special antibacterial compound called MGO also comes from the nectar of the tea tree. And Manucora is third-party tested. Every single harvest is tested for MGO. So I love this brand. I'm excited to share them with you. Now it's super easy to try Manucora honey. Head to manukora.com/almost30. That's manukora.com/almost30 to get $25 off the starter kit. I would get that. It comes with everything you need. Comes with an MGO 850 plus It comes with an MGO 850 plus Manuka honey jar, 5 honey travel sticks, which I love. I have them in my bag at all times. A wooden spoon that's just so cute and just makes the honey experience that much better. And a guidebook on how to use it, take it, all the things. So that's Manucora, manukora.com/almost30 for $25 off your starter kit.
What's time to die inside of you?
Good question. I think I
love that was your question that I just asked.
Yeah. No.
My king.
Having to save everyone.
Wow, I could totally see that. That's a really good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
I've slowly been, it's been dwindling, but it's not an on-off button.
Yeah.
I've felt that over the last 3-4 years. Since my father died, I've let go of the martyr. I'm letting go of the martyr as I'm entering this new chapter of my cycle on earth. You know, I'm in my early 40s and I'm losing kind of this like lust to have to save everybody. And it had beautiful origin, but it was taxing me and it wasn't allowing me to hit certain peaks of places that I want to be internally, emotionally, in, you know, relationship. It was just so much. And I'm really feeling it in this season is to start letting go of that more so I can feel more into my embodiment and not so much be in that heightened state that everyone I have to save, you know, and that's just it's part of my human design. It's in my gene keys and my, you know, my life's gift and my life's purpose, interesting enough, is grace.
Oh my God. Wait, are you 22?
22.
I'm 22.
Yeah.
Are you? I think I'm 22. We're 22.
Amazing.
22, 47.
Yeah.
Wow. Are you 47?
No.
What are you?
I'm 22, 46. I'm you're talking about as far as my purpose or
like the G, it's like 22 over 47. You have 4, right?
I have 8.
Okay. Or maybe I was thinking of the incarnation cross from human design. Those 4 numbers are
you're thinking of incarnate. I think you're thinking human design.
Because human design, but the 4 letters of your incarnation cross in human design are your gene keys.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Let me pull that up.
Yeah.
Let me see.
That's Grace. Yeah. You're 22 too, because I'm Grace.
Okay, you're Grace.
Yeah, Grace, which is like my background on my phone used to be Richard's words of gene key 22, and it's 222 right now.
Of course.
I know, it's not funny. It was like there's no getting around how special gene key 22 is.
Amazing.
It's like it's what makes the mythic drama of life so compelling.
I love that.
Obsessed.
Well, I love
his words
Richard.
are just like the best. But Grace is such a beautiful one.
It's everything.
What would you say you're calling in today in this season?
That part of me that feels like I need to, this is like within my like familial nuclear family system, me, Sean, and Mavi, but that part of me that feels like mother isn't enough in that system.
Yeah.
Just wanting to like, not feel like I need to provide equally, which is all my story, or like kind of letting go of that, like, but I need to contribute in other ways other than being mother and wife and creating a home and all of that. That's the masculine, though.
I was going to say, it's like prioritization in our culture on the masculine and consumer, or like consumerism in a way, and making money as like the most valuable thing that someone could bring to the relationship.
What are you letting go?
I'm calling in today. I think I've spent a lot of my life in denial of how powerful I am, especially as like a healer. And I think I'm letting that go.
Hallelujah.
Like, so powerful, and not even in like an ego way, but like, it's just the truth of who I am, you know? So it's like, how can I embrace and embody more of my truth of who I am?
Yeah.
And that doesn't have anything to do with anyone else. I'm not saying anyone else is not powerful.
No.
But it's just like me and who I am.
Yeah.
You know?
I love both of what you guys said, and it's so valuable for other people to experience that embodiment, both as a mother and just how you're caring for the whole family, and then also you really stepping into your power. I think the ego thing is really interesting because we have to have ego, but it's got to be attached to a purpose and health.
Totally.
Like you're like a healthy version of yourself. That's what gives us drive. That's what allows us to show up and to do something. If it's injured and scarred up and wounded and compulsive in its reaction, then that ego is giving you fits and is causing a meltdown all over the place. But you stepping into your healer, that's the best news of all time for both yourself and everybody around you. And I think that's invaluable awareness to have. The whole, like, you know, dissolve the ego, feed the soul thing. I don't resonate with that.
Yeah, I love the ego.
Yeah.
It's so good. Who's here today?
Right.
Who's here today?
Yeah.
Who's guiding us on this journey with my amazing ego?
Totally.
It is interesting in our work, though. I always feel like I'm always walking a razor thin line of ego and like soul.
Yeah.
Because it's like my work here in front of a camera or doing a podcast or on stage is my soul. And then it's razor thin, could be ego sometimes too, but it is what it is. Like, I think having the relationship and the top-down awareness of it when you're watching it, like sometimes I'll laugh. I'll be like, oh my God, my ego loves that you said that. Or like, you know, just having the awareness of it is truth. But I love what you said earlier about the masculine and feminine and sort of some of the practices in health and wellness. A lot of women are listening, and I feel like they have consumed a lot of information that is related to masculine principles, masculine supplements, masculine practices related to health. Can you talk a little bit about that? Like what women should be thinking about as it relates to health?
Yeah. The driving force can't come from a scarcity energy or a lack or the fear of not doing something or not doing it without structure, things of that nature. Of course, there are certain aspects of wanting to create systems in place so things can flow. But if you're being driven because of wanting to catch up or because you think that you're doing everything wrong, then you're missing the whole boat, and you're missing the ability for your system and for your immune system and for your entire calibrated body to really feel into the integration practice. It all has to be ceremony. In my opinion, your journey with your health is an internal ceremony. You look at all the ancient traditionary arts around health and wellness, it's not aggressive. It's not masculine in its approach. There are areas and peaks where you got to drive through and see something to the very end, you know, finish what you started, but it's predicated around an embodiment of embracing, right? And so I think it goes back to the season perspective, which is there's a crystal grid around every single day. Like every single day has a crystallization to it. it's got an edge, it's got an energy around it. And that level of awareness creates hyper presence. And the hyper presence is in the practice now, as opposed to what the outcome is going to be. And if you're always in the outcome, you're missing the presence. Whatever you're trying to experience, it's going to be lacking the authenticity. And we know the power of the placebo effect, right? If you give someone a sugar pill in a controlled study, that sugar pill will work for 2-3 weeks. And then at some point it starts to wear off. I say that because I look at being present and being in balance with your process is a placebo, because you're there, you're not somewhere else, and you're doing the right practice too. So it's a double whammy as far as its effect. I have a lot of compassion for people out there that are in pain, that are suffering, that don't know where to go. There's so much information right now that's scatterboxing that it's crazy. I was working on this analogy or quasi metaphor the other day. I posted it in my Telegram room, did a voice message. If we're looking for water and we got to find water, we're working against time and energy. We got to figure this out. Are we going to go dig 1,000 small holes to find water? Or are we going to dig one massive hole till we get to water? And I see that metaphor as also our health journey and our spiritual journey. At the bottom of that aquifer and the bottom of that pit, that digging to that pit is spiritual enlightenment, is homeostatic health, balance, and all that stuff. It's worth focusing on something and going all in instead of hearing 50,000 different perspectives and polarizing topics that are just creating such an oscillation that you can't connect to even one of them. You're surrounded and persuaded to go a million directions. And the human mind and our cultivar as human beings, we're not designed for that. We're not designed to be in arguments 24/7 and challenging and all that. It's good to have discussion. It's healthy. But if we're just going 2 steps in, we're not even giving ourselves the opportunity to grow. You're not building discipline. You're not building trust in yourself. Like, how many people have actually really done the work and really taking time? And it's not their fault. They weren't built with these types of faculties as a child. This is why I'm a big Waldorf fan, because Waldorf education gives children the opportunity to really grow faculties and build character development and responsibilities and understand empathy and not taking in forced curriculums. They're actually like learning it from their own direct observation. And we need more of that. And so I might digress a little bit, but this is a pivotal time. Like, if you're hearing this right now, ask yourself, like, what practice have you really gone deep with, that you've dug 10 miles into the earth for that water to find the gold? Or are you just sticking your toe in 1,000 different holes and never following through? And because you're not following through, are you loathing yourself a little bit? Do you feel like you haven't shown up? Are you resenting your character? Like, this is like theta training. Like, this is deep getting into subconscious work. So find something and discern the thing first. Because when we dig 10 miles to find that water, because we're racing to get water, we're not going to just randomly pick a place. We're going to douse the area. We're going to look at the cosmology. We're going to see what's growing around. We're going to do a lot of research. Then we're going to choose the path and go all in. And I find that spiritual enlightenment and health practices need a deep dive. Don't just read the cliff notes. Don't just read the artificial intelligence paragraph. Like, go into it, because that's where the gold is.
Yeah, and I think it gets confusing to people because they're so focused on whether it's the person promoting the thing that they should be doing. They're like, well, I want to be that. I want to look like that. I want to feel like that. I want to have that life. And so they're really not concerned with, or they've just lost touch with the power of the process of it, which is what you're speaking to. I completely agree. But I've also been in seasons where I've just skimmed the surface of practices and things that I say I want to do. And I've never felt good, And I think the big thing for me is I don't trust myself then. I don't trust myself to commit, to be disciplined, to follow through, to do 30 days of X, to do a year of the next thing. And I think the season of life I'm in now, I've just become much more simplified and I've been able to go deeper. And I think it's also because I'm not looking at what everyone else is doing as much. I still do it, but like as much. And so just a part B of what you asked the audience, it's like, how much are you consuming other people's end results to influence or to guide you in the thing that you want to go deep on, rather than checking?
Yeah, 99% of those end results are fake.
Yeah.
Let's just keep it real.
Let's keep it real.
It's bullshit.
It's never 7 figures, you guys.
It's never, right.
And it's never the cream to get you the no wrinkles. It's the Botox.
Yeah. And the holistic community is looking for an allopathic solution. I don't care if it's not a pharmaceutical drug, even if it's an herb or a supplement. Yeah. Like, you're a holistic person. You subscribe to the holistic science. You're not part of the bullshit pharmaceutical movement, but you're just coming to me asking for one thing to fix something.
Yeah.
That is a complete insult on your own character.
Yeah.
And the word magic, I don't have the energy. The word magic that's coming out of people's mouths are insane. They're already vibratory, cutting themselves off at their knees. And these are things that they've built up over their life. And it's a tough program to crack. I'm not perfect. I have moments too. Like, everyone might project that I'm like, I have everything figured out. I don't, but I'm also aware of the things that I don't have figured out. And I sit with them and I process them, and I try to be a better person or a better version of myself, or a higher version. I don't know if better is the right word, where I can walk through some of those things. Because if I'm not going through the practice of reconciling my life, then I'm just throwing caution in the wind and just like running with an unconscious state. And that's an ancient like Rosicrucian practice. I think I might have talked about this before, but the Rosicrucians, this is the occult order. Before they go to bed every night, they spend 30 minutes analyzing their entire day. They review and calibrate every interaction, every experience, everything that felt good, everything that felt bad, their eating windows, how they digested food, what movement they did, where did they feel like they had to escape energetically? Like, they really how much time did they put into their disciplinary practices? And they would do that every night before going to bed, like completely getting, digital almost with their life. Imagine doing that for 6 months. Mm-hmm. Who would you become of 6 months of calling yourself higher and holding yourself accountable? Why aren't we doing that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, what? Like, do we just not care anymore? And so
I think being hypnotized is like a balm.
Yeah.
It's like a thing. I think when people are conscious, I think at first, if I was someone that lived normally, if I was to review my day, I'd probably be like, this sucked, this sucked, this sucked. So it's like negativity bias creates the bad day or whatever. But I've done that a bit, and I'll do that whenever I hang out with people. Like, I'm like, well, I'll like check in when I leave. I'm like, okay, how do I feel? Do I have less energy? Do I have more energy? Do I feel happy? Do I feel sad? Do I feel like it was reciprocal? Like, what was like the frequency of that connection, and what was the frequency of that? And I think it's good after you eat. How much energy do I have? How clear do I have? Or how clear is my mind? Like, how happy do I feel? Like, checking in with everything. But I've been thinking about this lately. It's like, everything is like consciousness. It's like, that is consciousness, reviewing the day.
No.
That is consciousness, thinking about the relationships. It's like, how can you be the witness of the life and to choose what you're wanting to do and not do, what you're wanting to say yes to and not say yes to? And that's like us being like in actual relationship with life and everything that we're doing.
100%. That you're choosing you're hyper present. Mm-hmm. It's like an elimination diet.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And sometimes to get further, it takes deletion, right?
I think that's 100% true. For most of us, it's deleting.
Right.
It's actually not adding more. So many people are like, I want to take this course. I want to take this program. I want to listen to this thing. I want to do that. It's like, no, it's actually getting rid of everything.
Totally. And those are all dopamine hits.
Yeah.
I want to do these. I want to do that. I talk about it. I don't know if you guys see it on social media. Every like 3-4 months, I'll put a post out where I say, stop talking about what you want to do. Stop announcing it to the world and your social media. Just shut up and do it. Because every time you announce these things and you put it out there, you feel good about it because you want people to recognize what you're planning and what you're working on. And look, having your very intimate friends support a lot of the visionary stuff and to be a mirror for you in reflections and to do those types of work together is phenomenal. But just to get like that out there into social media world, you're just dopamine hitting you.
Yeah.
And then you're missing the dopaminergic activity, which is actually the hard work around it. And so you feel good for a day or two, and then you never get around to actually doing it. And that is causing you to get weaker and weaker and weaker to the point where you don't even trust yourself anymore. And that's a delusionary process. How many people are actually trusting themselves to make the right decision? And so, yeah, that what you said right now just made me think of an elimination diet. Some people have no idea what's triggering 10 million reactions that are happening in their body that are causing cognitive dissonance, pain, suffering, digestive issues, all of that. And it just takes removing the problem. Everyone goes, Chervin, what's the best way to detox? How should I do it? Should it be ozone? Should it be, this type of our activated charcoal? Is it this or that? I'm like, first things first, remove all the things in your life. Not even just food, everything. It's all a cleanse. Once you get your body to calibrate without that feedback loop that's constantly all that peripheral nervous system stuff that's taking you out of parasympathetic, then we can start approaching other layers of detoxification. Stop adding the fuel to the fire.
Yeah.
And that goes into every sector of your life. Your friends network, your work network, your home, for sure your home. The home is the number one, the way, if you're not organized in your house, forget about it.
Oh yeah.
Like you cannot be helter skelter in your home. If you're helter skelter.
There's a bunch of data that says that. And so I have a program called Life Edit, which is this. It's like just looking at taking conscious awareness to every single aspect of your life, relationships, mental, house, everything. But in the house, there's a lot of data that says that if your home is disorganized, you're more likely to be overweight. You have higher cortisol levels. You're less successful. You make less money. Like you are less likely to complete a task. Like everything in your house is being processed by your brain unconsciously and subconsciously and causing a reaction that's affecting you that you're sometimes not aware of.
Yep.
And so that's why having a decluttered, clean home is oftentimes like the most clear. That's why at Kim Kardashian's home, it's like so clear because it's like the creativity, the thoughts is like able to go in a really clean space. I think that was more Kanye.
Yeah, it was more Kanye.
One of the case.
I think about, I've been in homes where there's children and it's just like a bomb went off. And it's, listen, having kids is not the cleanest experience of all time. However, I do think it's our responsibility to have a space where they have space to like, whether it's imagine or kind of create their own little experiences. If there's toys everywhere and there's stuff like it's made me sad. And I didn't know why at the time. I was like, why am I sad that this playroom is absolutely
so true,
chaotic.
When I was young, we'd just go outside and we'd be like in a circle and we'd be like, all right, we're lost kids.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? We have 3 days to find, like, you just like,
exactly.
If the space just creates the opportunity to bring creativity and life into things. But if you're just stuck in a space with tons of toys, it's almost like that's your the creativity is done because the toy is manifested as something.
Yeah.
So you don't even need to use your creativity to inject it into it, except to make it lively or whatever.
Right.
It's a weird fucking tangent.
No, I love it. Clutter is a disaster. It really sets me back energetically.
Yeah.
I just can't do it.
It weighs you down. I mean, it all has energy. You know what I mean? Hawaiian culture is really big on that. Like everything in the space has its own frequency. When they walk into a space, they say hello to everything. They're like, hello, oven. Hello, like greeting the space as if it were a living, breathing thing.
Right.
And really knowing that like each is contributing to like not only what your eyes are processing, but what your energy is processing too. And I do think things can hold energy.
The feng shui perspective is
huge.
It's that the ritualistic magic of how you rise every day, how you consume food, the magic of consuming food.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Right? How you're digesting the food, your movement throughout the day, your artist touch, like stepping into the artist, and then drifting back into the sleep stage, which is one of the most important stages of your life, is when we go into those, DMT portals. Like if you're confused on that path in your sanctuary, you're already behind the 8 ball tenfolds.
So true.
Yeah. So this is, that's why I like apothecaries.
Says, make your bed.
Yeah. Make your bed.
He's like, make your bed. You guys want to change the world? Make your freaking bed.
I love it. The Symbiotica, I was just thinking about Symbiotica, like when we were designing and creating all the formulas and kind of working through it, we created one of the most interesting dynamic systems. We used a geometry. So I created this entire geometric shape. And then I looked at the human body, every aspect of the human body, from detoxification to energy levels, to mitochondria, to neuroprotective qualities, cardiovascular, kidney, liver, muscle, exoskeleton, all that kind of stuff. And through that geometry was really able to create the formulas that would help support those energy systems throughout the entire body. And I'm actually working on creating a system around that geometry, because when I go and speak and give lectures on health and do private stuff, sometimes I'm just kind of winging it energetically. But now
I think most times.
Right. Yeah. I'm just channeling, which is amazing because I'm streaming consciousness. But I also think in an attempt to really get some deep messaging in and embedded, creating a geometry would serve what we're trying to achieve here very well. So it's a push and pull of stream of consciousness, disorganized but organized, but also a foundation. And I think those two can meet each other very well. And so when someone's thinking about their health, let's get foundational, which is a masculine archetype to a certain degree. I think there's feminine in foundation as well, and create some kind of structure and non-negotiables. And the non-negotiables is I'm not going to drink cold ice water while I'm eating proteins and fats. I'm not going to eat past 8 p.m. big meals. I'm going to get protein on the rise in the first 2 hours to help balance and regulate blood sugars, so I'm not having insulin spikes that can lead to all kinds of autoimmune conditions. I'm going to mineralize first thing on the rise because my body is depleted of minerals on the rise. I'm going to get movement in. I'm going to work on my breath. I'm going to be conscious that I'm not breathing 40 times a minute. Maybe I can lower it to 10 times a minute. And from there, maybe I can get down to 5 times a minute, especially when I'm not talking and I'm just in an observer type reality. These are things that should be foundational, that sometimes certain archetypes and certain types of people need that structure in place. And there's nothing wrong with having that.
What are 3 products that people should get today
from Symbiotica, and why?
Well, they have to be from Symbiotica for obvious reasons.
I'd say magnesium.
You say magnesium?
The best. Changes your life.
Which one? Because we have 2 very potent ones. I mean, the topical one.
L3 and 8.
The L3 and 8. So these are 2 magnesiums that contribute to perfect magnesium load in the body. And that's the beauty of them, because there's 9 forms of magnesium. So our liposomal form, which is one of our top performing products, it's used by every top athlete in the world, is Mag 3 and 8, which was developed at MIT. And this particular form of magnesium can cross the blood-brain barrier very easily, which is really important because we're depleted of magnesium right now. It should be in our foods. It should be in our soil. But they killed off the bison and North America's soil shot. The hydrological cycle is not there. So we're not getting farms with real mineralization anymore. And we're getting depleted. And unless you're eating a pound of dark chocolate every day coming from Costa Rica or Hawaii, you're really magnesium depleted. And so the hardest place for magnesium to gather is the brain now. What is magnesium? I say the word magnesium, or I say the word copper, or I say the word silver, or I say the word gold or silica. These are all minerals. Every mineral has a unique energy source. They call it a subatomic charge. That subatomic charge is a combination of electrons, protons, neutrons, and some weird mystery alchemies that allow it to do what it does. When you put copper in your body, copper helps you develop ATP. It resists parasites in the body. It amplifies production of T cells and natural killer cells. Copper is incredible. It's part of the methylation process. It has that unique coating that our body pings off. Like, think how crazy that is. Wow. Ever lay back and just think about these things? I do all the time. It trips me out. Okay, it's like, this is magic, right? Mm-hmm. Magnesium is the subatomic charge mineral that allows cells to communicate. It creates ion channels so parts of the body can communicate to other parts of the body. And one of the main things that it regulates is the stress cortisol response system. So think of magnesium as the burn rate when we're under stress. And if you do not have adequate levels of magnesium in your body, then you're going into hyper stress and the body cannot cope with it. So now you have immunosenescence, now you have autoimmune, now you have oxidative stress, and now you're entering the disease phase sooner. Magnesium keeps us supple in our ability to be adaptable and adapt to stress. You hear about herbs that are adaptogens, whether it's medicinal mushrooms or certain herbs. Magnesium is the cornerstone of that. Magnesium is the ultimate adaptogen. By far, hands down, not even close. And our liposomal magnesium L-threonate centers in the brain, in the synapses. It helps neurologically for your brain functions to fire, to lower stress in the mind, to balance brainstem energy, to produce BDNF alpha, brain-derived nootropic factor. These are parts of our brain that rebuild and create neuroplasticity, all of those things. I'm on 2 or 3 of those a day.
Easy.
Pretty consistently. Mm-hmm. And the fact that we're able to get it in liposomal form, the fact that there's no weird flavor system, it's all organic vanilla extracts, the fact that there's no weird preservative systems is a testament to how we do things at Symbiotica. And that's why we're comfortable having our name on that and creating it. If there was any loose ends in there, there'd be a problem. Mm-hmm. And I'm so hyped on that. That with our topical magnesium spray, that's got DMSO in it, dimethyl sulfoxide. No one's doing that.
Is that the lavender one?
It's the lavender one.
I put it on Mav's feet.
You should, yes. There's arnica. So there's arnica in there. There's all kinds of amazing compounds. Mm-hmm. That's sourced from the Dead Sea. Wow. It's in a glass Myron bottle.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
There's no other spray out there that's sitting in Myron glass. It's all in plastic. Just our packaging on that product is more expensive, just the packaging, than all of those magnesium products on the market. And because it's got the DMSO in there, you're not having the irritation or the itch from topical magnesium sprays because it's vasodilating properly. This was a hack that I figured out like 15 years ago from a mentor of mine that taught me a lot of these things. This isn't something that I came up. Everything that I've learned from experience and from masters ahead of me. I'm just someone that is harboring a lot of that information because I give a fuck, right? And so that the topical with the liposomal magnesium L-threonate, you're on a good one. I also sit in magnesium foot baths and body baths, and you can't get enough of magnesium. You really can't unless you're consuming like a weird form like citrate or something that is going to cause your bowels to explode or something.
They also say to have it over the day instead of just having it like heavy dose at night.
Correct.
Because it's better processed then. So the magnesium, glutathione.
I mean, come on, the glutathione. So, yeah. Did you guys see my 20-minute video I did on Instagram on glutathione? I went really crazy. Really? I don't know. I didn't think I was going to do it, but I just did it. I'm just so passionate about these things. Yeah. And like, I really just wanted people to learn and understand what it is. It's a tripeptide. It's amino acids coming together in the body. It's developed in the liver for the most part. It's the master antioxidant. It's the chelating magic. Okay. So chelation means to latch onto something and pull it out. And so glutathione chelates. It chelates fungus, mold, candida, infections, heavy metals, other toxic burdens in the body. Glutathione's job is to basically search, lock in, and remove out of the body. If it can heal it in the time being, it will lend an electron to it and do that as an antioxidant. But most of the time, glutathione is just lowering the burden on the body. It lowers the burden on the kidneys. It lowers the burden on the liver. It lowers the burden on the lymph system. It lowers the burden on circulatory system. It is a jack of all trades. And I think what separates Symbiotica's glutathione is that because we're using a reduced form, that's a very highly bioavailable form of glutathione, and we're capturing it in liposomes, it's not oxidizing. Most of the glutathiones on the market, when you open up the lid or whatever, it smells like sulfur, right? Because glutathione is sulfuric. That's how the body methylates in our detoxification pathways. And so glutathione, ours is compact, it's stored, it tastes amazing. We also have PQQ in there, pyrrolone, quinone, which is a totally powerful, neurochemical compound antioxidant that is increasing so much vascularity in the brain. Just that material alone, you can find products on the market at the same dosage we have for like $50, $60. It was our awareness to make complete formulas. We don't make isolated compound formulas. We don't do that. All of our products have at least 12 compounds in them that all potentiate each other and support each other for the vision that we have for it. We also have ubiquinol CoQ10 in there. It's the same thing as PQQ. It's a fat-soluble vitamin, but instead of targeting the brain tissue, it targets the heart tissue. And so now you have a chelator and the master antioxidant in liposomal form with a brain antioxidant and a cardiovascular antioxidant. That is one of our favorite products. It's beautifying. Another thing, like everyone wants to hear the beauty. The beauty is secondary to it detoxing you. And so that cleans up the skin. It cleans up the white in the eyes. It amplifies your glow. And it also helps deodorize you, kind of like our Super Greens formula. Everyone asked me about our Super Greens, which has amazing compounds in it. It has glucoraphanin, which turns into sulforaphane in the gut. This is nature's deodorizer. And so, I think you guys know my take on perfumes and colognes and antiperspirants that are all masking your problem, which is kind of what we're talking about today. There's so much of a veneer on everything. Let's get into the internal root. And because of the chlorophyll and the glucoraphanin in there, it's literally detoxifying your blood and your odor systems in your body. It's incredible stuff. Wow. This, I want to talk about our B12. This was a labor of love. This thing, we've upgraded that formula like 7 times in the last 3-4 years. That's another thing about us. It's like when we find something that's like better or a different way of doing it, we're going to do it. Now, it's a pain in the ass for our entire organization because once you've grown to a certain size and you've built these systems, making wholesale changes in products and stuff, it means a complete retraining, resystems, and all that kind of stuff. But you know what? We don't give a shit. We don't care. Because if we're going to be able to get better, we're going to get better. We do the opposite of what other groups are doing. They're chopping their shit up to try to, make a margin. Our margins are terrible. And we're fine with it. The whole organization's fine with that because we're about growth and getting more people in that as opposed to marginalizing one person. Because if you can stay on as a customer, and our customers are staying on over a year now, which is breaking industry records, it is a complete testimony to what we stand for as an organization, top to bottom. If you stay on longer, then we don't need to have a big margin on each sale. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because once you're there, then you're supporting us. And that support allows us to do what we're doing. B12 is a perfect example. We have 3 active forms of B12 in our product. We have methylcobalamin, adenosylcobalamin, and hydroxycobalamin. These are extremely potent forms of B12 that all serve their purpose. One of them is for mitochondria. One of them is for detoxification. One of them is for gut health. And I won't bore you with too many details, But the fact that we have all 3 active forms in there separates us from every other group out there right now. We also have L-methylfolate in there, which everyone needs for methylation. A lot of women out there, a lot of men have the MTHFR gene mutation. You could be doing all the enemas you want. You could be doing all the chelation therapy you want. You could be doing all the ozone. But if you aren't methylating properly and not getting these B vitamins and glutathione in, forget about your detox pathways. And this is a real big issue for children too. All mothers should get their children tested for MTHFR and see if they have a variance of that. It will really create ease and grace for their childhood development, brain development, and detox pathway development. And so we have that in there. We have B6 in there. We have, I mean, and this is all in liposomal form, organic extracts. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's freaking epic. Like this is why I get up thinking about these things. Yeah. Every airport I go to, every place I go to, getting a mom coming to me and saying, thank you for showing up. Thank you to you and your team. Thank you for the Symbiotica family. I mean, this is all I need, and this is what inspires me. Yeah. I'm inspired by being part of this for whatever purpose I have within this organization,
It's powerful.
Yeah.
And I just think too, just the ground up approach where like you're not taking any shortcuts, not skimping on anything.
No.
And I think that just for someone to hear that, I think is really important, because I think a lot of us in our day to day kind of take those little shortcuts, skimp on things, try to make things faster and quicker and kind of skip the process. So it's just a reminder for me too. It's like, if you want to build something that is sustainable, impactful in an actual real way, you can't be skimping on anything. And
I appreciate that. It means the world to hear that. There are certain things that we might want to navigate a little bit quicker, but when it comes to what we're putting in our body or on our body, we say no to that.
Yeah.
We're in it, purely out of an offering to this world. This is how Symbiotica was formed. I mean, the name Symbiotica came from that, like, gnosis, all things coming together in nature to create a perfect utopic realm. And literally every part of our organization is running on that level. We don't outsource anything. And we're in the state of California. I think I know, what that means. Every single part, every facet of our organization is in-house. Customer service, education, code writing, legal, nothing is outsourced at all. Wow. And that's a testament to the team, a testament to my partner, Shahab, who I've known for 25 years. He called me one day after Symbiotica was formed, about a year into it. He's like, wow. He's like, I want to be part of this. He's like, I don't want my kids to remember me for being wealthy. I want them to remember me for helping people. We literally have this call 2-3 times a week, me and him, at like 6 a.m. We talk about how we're feeling, what's happening. And then it always ends it with like, look what we're fucking doing, And so when you have that level of character, then anything's possible. And, we're breaking like records in this industry. We're 3 years in a row, Inc. 5000, fastest growing company. And I think one of 2 companies that didn't raise. Like that's
crazy.
I don't really I don't get into that kind of stuff really. I think it's awesome and it's an indicator of trust, but it's pretty cool, and that's another way to look at abundance. Like if you're chasing money or you're chasing fame or you're chasing an aesthetic, you're going to have a hard time getting it. But if you're in your embodiment and you love what you do, you love health, you love wellness, you want to go deep on parts of health and understand what the liver does and learn about it, or you want to be in your embodiment to help people, the side effect of those things is a good physical body and abundance. And so it's like, really ask yourself, like, what's your why? And how's that working for you? Has it been if you, the way you're doing it now, is it is it producing results?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
I'm constantly trying to get better. And I think I've found a way to do that where it's not keeping me from feeling free.
Yeah.
Where I'm not in a trap, because there is a thin line there, but that's part of being maniacal and also being a hyper spiritual person who understands how this world works.
Yeah.
And I think if you can toe that line, just like there's a thin line between love and hate, and then you said something earlier, there's a thin line, ego and soul, then I think you got a recipe now, and you can make a big quantum pump in this reality. Yeah.
Beautiful. This was so much fun.
Yeah.
We love all the products. We just did a heavy dose before this to be on top of it. But yeah, it's been such a pleasure to see you guys grow and see everything happen. And I think it's a good reminder for our audience too, that you could have a business that is spiritual and aligned and, you know, in coherence with the planet, in coherence with people, and still be successful. It's like new paradigm businesses actually do work. So reminding ourselves of that, which is a really beautiful thing.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
It's an honor. Thank you for having me. And
we love you.
I could do this for forever.
We're going to. We love you guys. Bye.
Bye.
All right, guys. Thank you so much, Chervin. Again, it's Chervin of Symbiotica, and Symbiotica is the amazing brand that we love. You can use code almost30 to get any of their products, and then listen to other episodes of Chervin on his podcast, Wake the Fake Up, or on Almost 30 by searching Almost 30 Chervin.
And be sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Almost 30 Podcast. We'd love to chat with you in the DMs. We have funny clips and memes, and the community is rocking over there. Thank you all so much for being a part of this community, supporting the show. We'll see you on the next one.
We love you guys. Bye.
Bye.